Meeting. It is 8:32.
This meeting is being transcribed and summarized.
As a reminder, it is being recorded, so make sure that everything stays on point. Let's see, we have a quorum present. There is, Derek is not able to join, right? Virtual either. Right, so Derek is the only one not able to. He's at a emergency training. Quorum, we do have both parties represented. Now, a lot of welcome and President's remarks. We want to get right down to business. We got a busy day today. Just as a note, when Julie Enzer does get here, we will shift the agenda a little bit to accommodate her. We'll do our part, and then we can always come back to wherever we were, just to be respectful of her coming out here for us.
Excuse me, Mr. President. Derek was sworn in yesterday. Vice President Johnson was sworn in yesterday
So he's,
at the clerk's
all
office.
right, so he's good for swearing.
Yes.
Perfect. Any additions or changes to the agenda? I did make a note that we will need a closed session. We talked about it at our last meeting for personnel, so we can go into that after our regular meeting. So that will go under after 12. Between 12 and 13, before we adjourn, we will have a closed session. And then just a reminder, whenever we go into these closed sessions, we try to push them at the end because finish our closed session, we're only going to come back into our open session just to close out the meeting. So there will be no further business. That way, anybody who is sticking around that's not in the closed session, they can go because there will be no business transacted after that closed session. So just a little reminder for the little housekeeping. So we will skip that administration of oath. That will come in when Julie gets here. For now, we have the approval of the minutes. Were there any other changes or adjustments noted? Anyone? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I move that we approve the April 20th.
All right, it has been motioned.
Second.
And a second. Any further conversations or questions? If not, all those in favor of approving our April 29th meeting minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. That is going to take us right into our director's report.
All right, and here's the copy for you and Vern to sign.
It's the minutes, right?
Yes. All right, thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. It's been a very, very busy month. It's outlined in the director's report under meetings, trainings, and important events. We have all of the items that we've taken care of or will be taking care of over the next month. Some of the highlights are of the last month is we did find a very good placement for the ballot box at the courthouse, and it is being used. Even though, originally a lot of people thought that a ballot box is, you're supposed to be able to drive up to it and roll down your window and put the ballot in, but that has never been the intent of the ballot boxes. So as long as they're accessible by foot and they're ADA accessible. So we also visited Rosedale where that new box went, and that's in a good location and it's being used. There's been a bunch of different meetings and just preparations for the primary, the meeting with our county partners that help us conduct the election. Those meetings have taken place. We've had two, and we have the final one coming up in a week or so. Another highlight was all of the staff attended CPR, Stop the Bleed, and Narcan training, as well as two of our board members, Al and Peter. I believe that was probably the best CPR training I've ever had, and I've had it several times over the years. So I extended our appreciation to Baltimore County emergency management and fire, for sending, the young lady to train us. There was a lot of us, I think there was 40 of us that were trained that day, but it was a very successful, training. The other thing to note is that we are still continuing as much as possible to attend all outreach events that we know of or were requested to attend. And I've also attended several central committee meetings when they make the request and to provide election briefings. We are also trying to conduct as many volunteer voter registration volunteer trainings. However, our resources are getting thinner and thinner because there's more and more to do the closer we get to early voting. So our last class for the VRD, which is that voter registration distribution training, is June the 5th at 11 o'clock here. So if anybody knows of anyone that wants to be trained prior to the primary, please let them know. They're welcome to attend June the 5th at 11. Early voting starts the following week, and we just can't provide any more trainings until after the primary, and then we'll start up again and provide them before the general. I won't go through all of the rest of the items because it's listed in the director's report, but I will move on and talk about a few other things. As you may know, the county council approved the county budget, which included our election agency budget. There were no changes, which is a good thing, to what was requested. One thing to note, though, is the fiscal year ends on June 30th, which means the new fiscal year starts on July 1st. Now, and the way it works is if the event or someone worked or the item was purchased and received prior to June 30th, then it'll be expended from the fiscal year 26. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunately, but this year the obstacle is our election is in one fiscal year and our certification is in another. So I've already started the process to encumber funds for events or items that actually occur in fiscal year 26. And maybe I don't have the bill yet or it hasn't been paid. For example, ballot box security. I might not have that final bill. I will encumber those funds so that they still come out of fiscal year 26. However, our canvases are going to happen, a lot of them through July, right? Because we certify July 6th. So the canvassers are going to have to be paid out of the 27 fiscal year, which might just make it look a little like we spent more for the general than we did for the primary. But there's an election in every fiscal year. So, I mean, in the end, it all balances out, but I just wanted to make you all aware of that I'm doing everything I can to make sure that division is there so that our budget doesn't show we're in the red or we're over budget.
That didn't happen yet, right? So they're going to approve it on June 1st, but June 1st.
No, it was May 21st. That's the wrong date. I thank you.
Yeah.
It already just happened.
It just happened, right? 'Cause
May
it was at their
21st.
last meeting.
Yeah, it was at their last meeting. I think it was May 21st. I'll correct that for the minutes. Thank you, Will. And I thought I made that change.
You did.
But maybe I made it in the minutes from the last, but that's what I probably did. I made the change in the minutes, but I forgot to change it in my director's report. Anyway, thank you for noting that. It was last, Thursday, I think it was, when it was approved. Yeah, May 21st. The other part of the budget that I just wanted to let you know is the state is required to reimburse us 50% of all of our warehouse and storage costs. And I'm submitting those numbers to the state again for fiscal year 27. That we get reimbursed in our quarterly billing. I'm still trying to catch up with the property manager, the new property manager at St. John's. She didn't arrive at our scheduled meeting. I circled back with her twice, and then we set up a new meeting for tomorrow. So I'm hoping she comes tomorrow because I really need to outline things with her, like they can't do lawn maintenance or an early voting, and they can't clean the windows and all of that. So, if she doesn't, arrive tomorrow, then I'm gonna speak to her, supervisor, send them a notice. But, anyway, so that did not occur as it was scheduled to occur over the last month. I think I told you, last time the disaster recovery and emergency operations document was submitted to the state board, and it's also being provided to all of the, agencies that we partner with for elections. We also, Amanda and I are also working on the power management plan, and I'll have that finalized by the end of this week. Basically, everything in the power management plan is already included in my COOP, but, the state wants it to be a separate document. So I'm creating the separate document, or I'm finalizing that separate document. As you saw, we have security now at our board meetings, and that security is gonna be provided by Whole Armor Security. And they actually, have done, security at election official events around the country. So they are, knowledgeable, in, protecting election officials and the operations of elections. They are also gonna be the ones who provide the security during our campus.
This is different than the other company.
Butler will continue to provide the ballot box security, but Whole Armor for the primary, and Whole Armor is gonna provide this board meeting and campus security.
So stuff here at the site.
Yes, sir. All employees have signed that confidentiality agreement, and as well as all OIT or anybody else that goes out, past the secure entrance of our office. They've all been, signed, and they're kept on file in my office as required. The Where Do I Vote feature on the election agency website went live on May 11th, and it does work. But just note that because our council expanded to 9, it's gonna have the 7 for now when somebody wants to know the representative, because there aren't 9 council members, right? So it has the correct information for where they go to vote, but the 9, it's not gonna show all 9 council districts until after we certify and those people are sworn into office. Does that make sense? And there's a note on the website that kind of explains it, and we haven't received any voter calls saying they don't understand that part. So I think, OIT, well, I think we did a good job with OIT explaining and making the website kind of user-friendly and make sense. Kudos and appreciation to our OIT, because they're awesome. In an ongoing effort to be proactive and keep everyone healthy, our disinfecting practices continue, and then safety protective items have been placed in the production room and throughout the office. We currently have 1 defibrillator, which is right outside by the water fountain, but I've made a request for 2 additional portable defibrillators. And I got the idea when we were going through the CPR training, and that way Amanda has 1 in the warehouse, and then we have 1 in the middle of the office, because our office is really long. And then that way somebody doesn't have to run all the way up here, in the event that we do need that defibrillator. As far as the warehouse and election equipment, the battery charging is being completed along with our logic and accuracy of the voting equipment. Kudos to Amanda and her team, because the inventory is 100% complete, which was well before the due date of June 30th. So thank you, Amanda, for making sure that got done, so we didn't have to worry about conducting an election and doing inventory at the same time. So great job. Most of the shredding has been completed, but we had to place it on a temporary hold due to the other requirements that are taking precedent. The remaining documents will be shredded at the end of July after the primary. I keep saying when it slows down, but I used to say that in 24, and I just don't think it's happened yet. The ballot sorting equipment, maintenance agreement will be renewed. I went before the council last night and presented the information to them. They didn't have any questions, so I'm expecting it to be approved at the council meeting next week, and I am required to attend in person, and it's at 6 o'clock at the Jefferson Building. The Voter Services Department remains current, surprisingly, so great job to our team, and our work is being processed when received. We haven't missed any deadlines or we haven't missed any requirements or anything like that. Voter notification cards and change of address cards continue to be mailed when the voter makes changes to the registration. The manual review of voter records in the statewide system, it continues when possible. We're not able to do that as much as we were in previous months because of the different things that have unfolded, and also just because we're getting busier as we get closer to early voting and election day. The voter services report from April 29th to May 26th is included in your board folders. Kim added the additional titles and the subtitles that you all requested last time, which makes the numbers a little bit easier to understand. So you can see like the forever numbers and then, or the numbers just in the period that we're reporting for. Does anybody have any questions on that report? So for election day, there's a new requirement in Comar that requires board members and the director. It's a communication requirement. Ironically, we've been doing it for years. Nothing changes to our process because what's required in Comar is exactly what we've been doing for years. I think Josh made that comment to the other board attorneys across the state. He was like, that's no big deal to us because we're already doing that. So I put a copy of that Comar requirement. It says you have to be available. The board attorney needs to be on site or whatever. I don't know word for word, but I do know that we already follow everything that's in there. But I gave you a copy just in case you need to know that. The voter guide, or the sample ballot as they call it, that's been mailed to all Democrat and Republican registered voters who did not request a mail-in ballot. An English and Spanish version is available on our election agency website. We also took one extra step in regards to unaffiliated and other party voters. This year, Baltimore County does not have a nonpartisan ballot. And our only contest that would be on that ballot, because Maryland's a closed primary state, is the Board of Education contest. Because we had less than 3 candidates, every one of the 7 districts for Baltimore County, there was no need to put them on the primary ballot. They go straight to the general because they're not voted by party affiliation. So there were 2 or 1 candidate for every district. So the Board of Education is not on our primary ballot. It will appear on our general ballot, and therefore we have no other parties or unaffiliated ballot. This is different than previous years because normally we have 3 or 4 or more Board of Education districts that have a contest. So when unaffiliated voters show up to vote, we have a ballot for them to vote. Those that request a mail-in ballot, we have a ballot is mailed to them, et cetera, et cetera. Because we don't have that this year, to try to eliminate voter confusion, we mailed a postcard. I developed an informational postcard, and I have a copy of it for you guys here, that we sent out to all unaffiliated and nonpartisan and other parties voters saying, you know, this is the way Maryland primary is. You're not going to have a ballot. And then it gave them like the registration deadline and information on that. I'm hoping that by sending that postcard, they won't come to vote, because if they come to vote, federal law requires us to find a way for them to vote if they say they're eligible and they want to vote. So then they would vote provisionally. The ballot would not go through the scanner, but then that increases our provisional processing time, all the work we have to do, the back end, and then it also will increase our provisional canvas time. So we also gave copies of that to the election judges, you know, in their supplies so that they can give that out if unaffiliated voters come. So they got a postcard in the mail, and they also, if they do come to vote during early voting, we'll give them that information. And then, what was the third thing that we did? It just left my mind. Oh, and we're training it. In every training class, we're explaining it to all the different types of judges, but we're really going into detail with the provisional voters and with the provisional judges and the, chief judges. The nursing home program had to be put on hold because although we received our ballots, it was put on hold for now, just a minute, because I need to make sure they received the first round of ballots and then they receive the replacement ballots before we go visit and help and assist them. So, I'm hoping that starting next week, I'll be able to set the schedule. There were 4 or 5 locations that want us to visit in person. And then the rest, the others, we mail them the ballots and then they send them back in. So there was nothing I can do about that. If we would have went last week, they would have had a bunch of ballots that they can't vote anyway. So it made sense for us to contact them and say, you know, we haven't forgot you. We're gonna set up a time, blah, blah, blah. And we'll be there as soon as you all, hi Jolie, as soon as you receive your replacement ballots.
All right, let's take a break from our normal agenda and welcome Julie here. Thank you for accommodating us.
Of course.
You have
Participated. Thank you for your understanding and flexibility this morning. Okay, so.
in charge.
Dive in.
We're ready. Yep.
I will dive-
Want to hold you up. We know you're busy. We appreciate you coming out here.
So Julie, do you know everybody? Well, yeah, because you sworn everybody in. That's right. Sworn in too. You guys gotta stand up.
How is everyone? It's great to see you. It's an exciting time of year. I love it.
Your oath is a little different than ours, so she does you
All
separate.
right, if you will all stand, because we will take our oaths.
Yes, please. So we will start with the board canvas. And then we will move to the, Okay, so the Board of Canvassers could please stand and raise your right hand, and you'll repeat after me. And please state your full name individually.
Aye.
Peter Richkus.
I, Albert Nally.
I, Laverne Gaither.
I, William Fewer,
Aye, Rui Marie Lavoy.
Do swear or affirm
swear
that I will support
That I will
support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will
that
I
I will
will
be faithful
be faithful,
and bear true allegiance
bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support
and support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and
that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and
and
faithfully,
faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without
partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of
execute the office of
Board of Canvassers
Board of Canvassers
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of this state,
and that I will
and that I will
canvass and declare
canvass and declare
the votes cast truthfully
the
the
votes
votes cast truthfully
and will perform
and
will perform
all other duties
all other duties
of the position of
of the position of
member of the Board of Canvassers
member of the Board of Canvassers
as required by law.
as required.
required by law.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rui.
And I need your signatures now.
Yep.
So Today is the 27th, so you can just continue 27, 26 in your signature, please.
So how are you?
Awesome, too. And I did swear in Derek yesterday, so he's.
I saw his name up there, so I'm like,
Official.
yeah. He felt bad. He felt so bad. They sprung like an emergency last minute training on him that I think it was like over the weekend or Friday before the weekend or something. That's Julie's.
Always bring one just in case.
Yeah, I may need that.
I'm struggling here with this warmth now.
It's gonna be Josh's turn all by himself.
Yes.
I love the spotlight. Lights that aren't on me. Start.
Ma'am. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Switch this. Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and please state your full name.
I, Joshua Leland Inslee,
Do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and that I will
and that I will
be faithful
be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of
to
Maryland
the state of Maryland
and support
and support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of
execute the office of
Counsel to the Board of Canvassers,
Counsel to the Board of Canvassers,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of Maryland,
and that I will
and that I will
canvass and declare
canvass and declare
the votes cast truthfully
votes cast truthfully,
and will perform
will perform
all other duties
all other duties
of the position of
of the position of
Counsel to the Board of Canvassers
Counsel to the Board of Canvassers
as required by law.
as required by law.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we open them then or something? I'm feeling Will's fan and I'm like, let me get in on some of this air.
Microphone so I can turn the other sides.
Is there anybody on the meeting?
And the link is public, right? Did anybody register or anything?
Nobody registered, but I also have to post it.
So if somebody joins in, we can always flip the air off so they can hear us.
Yeah, but when I post it, all you're gonna hear is.
You know, we have to
Oh.
record it.
No, our recording, it doesn't pick up either. Oh.
Have a wonderful primary election.
Thank you so much, Julie.
Excited for all of you. Thank you for your service and hopefully
Thanks for
I'll.
coming out.
Have a, yeah, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, thank you. Have a good day.
Why they closed these, I'm sorry. Should start cooling off.
Yeah, it is, that works.
All right, sorry to interrupt your report.
No worries.
Cognizant of her time. Let's go back to yours.
All right, so I talked about the sample ballot. Now I'm gonna talk about the mail-in ballot. So as you know, that on May 13th, it was, there were errors in the ballots that were mailed to the voters. I believe Baltimore County was the first county to notify the board, or the state board of a incorrect ballot. I've provided you all with all of the press releases and things like that, and I've given you updates on what we're doing internally to manage and organize the ballots that come back that are part of the first ballots, the incorrect ballots, and then they are being quarantined in our mail-in ballot room. We've logged them all in and we're keeping them in alphabetical order. When the replacement ballots start to go out, I have a process all in place for that too. The state issued a press release this morning. Yesterday, we were told that, they weren't sure when originally, the press release said the ballots are gonna be mailed in jurisdiction alphabetical order, but that changed. And yesterday, we were told that us and I think Baltimore City and PG or something, or Montgomery, I can't remember, wouldn't be mailed until later this week, but they said they would still be mailed on the by the 29th. So, they issued this press release, just a few minutes before the meeting, and I'm not sure whether the press release went out last night or this morning. But they gave it to us a few minutes, so, yeah, if you can hand those out. And it says that by the end of tomorrow, all the replacement ballots will be delivered. And
So then they must have sent this out yesterday. If they're saying all replacements will be mailed out 2 days in advance of the 29th, so 2 days would be today.
right, but
If
right,
they're-
so either they sent it late last night after I left and I left late, or they sent it this morning, I don't remember. But anyway, I'll give you a second to read this.
Have they been fully transparent with you on behalf of Baltimore County on how they're planning to do like, did you know these were coming? Did you know they were trying to get earlier date? Like, do they give you updates on a regular to see what's going on?
Yeah, the deputy state administrator sends updates, to the local boards. No, I didn't know this press release was coming, but, they give us a copy, but it's normally after it's already been issued.
So what guidance are they giving you for dealing with these? I mean, I just assume that we're gonna get a bunch of these mailed in that are voided ballots.
So we've gotten about 5,000 in, and that's what I mean, they're being quarantined.
But is that
we-
your,
It's
Uh,
been our management, and the local boards are managing. The state board mails out the ballots.
right?
The local boards do everything from that point on.
So what
They
you're doing now
receive
as far as,
do-
yeah, as far as sequestering everything, that's your initiative. Is that giving you any guidance or tools from the
I
state?
mean,
This,
I mean, we already started. We had
Right.
already started receiving the ballots. I had already started keeping them in alphabetical order and logging them on a spreadsheet.
What I'm saying is, he's asking, I guess, is that the process that the state's telling you to do, or you're doing that on your own?
So what the state has given us is a spreadsheet that, all of us are using to track the return ballots. So we had already started that process, so we just had to transfer about 50% of them over onto their spreadsheet. Because we had already started tracking alphabetizing and all that prior to, getting the spreadsheet. So the canvas process, they said that they'll let us know, but they said basically everything is the same as it's always been. But we just need to make sure that we manage and quarantine those ballots. And if someone doesn't return their replacement, they're coming up with the process for that. But it's the same process we've always followed. When we received 2 ballots, the first ballot counts. Let's say the person doesn't know we received their mail-in ballot because, they didn't get the text message or whatever saying, we received your mail-in ballot. So they go vote on election day to make sure they have a ballot. We've already canvassed that first ballot. The
Okay.
provisional ballot is then rejected because a voter can't receive 2 tracking numbers, 2 ballots. It's impossible in our system. They're coming up with like very transparent guidelines for all 24 jurisdictions to to follow, but it's basically the same guidelines. It's the same process we've always done. I mean, the law is the law as far as when you receive 2 ballots and those types of things. So the management of the ballots, yes, we've done that ourselves. But I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yes.
And Pete, I think that's what you were asking about, the curing of the ballots. Is that what you were?
Almost. My question has to do with whether or not the tally of the votes that have come in already, the first ballot, which are being.
About 5,000.
And is it going to be possible using the software to match those with subsequent ballots?
So that's what we're doing now. We, Anne Arundel County and Baltimore City, the larger jurisdictions, we have a spreadsheet that actually Anne Arundel County developed the part of the spreadsheet, and then we've added to it to make it work for us, where we can every voter that's been, and then also now using the spreadsheet the state gave us, we can tell whether the person got the right ballot or the wrong ballot, whether it's a match or not. Once the information is bumped up against each other, but the state did say that Taylor, the printer, is gonna give us postcards to send to any voters who didn't return their replacement ballot. So the spreadsheet that they developed has like a column that we put a check mark if we got back the replacement ballot. So that's why I'm keeping ours in alphabetical order, right? So I have it on a spreadsheet that we can sort, and then once the replacement ballots come in, they're labeled and identified as replacement ballots. I will be able to, when we receive those in MD voters, Kimberly can then upload a report saying all of the voters that have returned a ballot, because it'll be their voter registration will be marked received. Then we bump that up against the spreadsheet to see which voters aren't on that list. Does that make sense? And then those ballots will be presented to the board during the canvass.
So that is the strategy for addressing somebody that did not submit a second ballot after submitting the fourth. The canvass review is the process as opposed to contacting the voter.
No, we're doing both. We're doing all of it. We're sending the postcard, we're contacting the voter. I've developed the in-house system. I've asked the state board, can they please send a text or an email to any voters that received a web delivery ballot, which is like printed home, to say, please vote your ballot, it's good, because we've even gotten less of those than normal. And I think it's because people aren't sure. So I asked, could they please send that a text or an email? They haven't let me know that yet. But they're also notifying all of the voters by regular mail, by text, by email, whatever their preferred notification method was. And then we're gonna notify them again after all the replacement ballots have gone out. And then Baltimore County, I am setting up and implementing a system where we can contact those voters as well. And then the sheet that the state board developed has the column that says postmark mailed. Taylor's supposed to give us those postcards, and we send those to voters who haven't returned a ballot once we're able to match the list.
Has there been any discussion about reinforcing the message on the ballot drop boxes?
So I saw that on, and I answered you earlier. We're getting less and less ballots, so there's almost no reason to. I think yesterday we might have gotten 10 ballots back. So that message is out there, right? Because if it wasn't, I would keep getting, the number I'm getting back wouldn't be reduced. And putting another sign on the ballot box, I don't think is gonna help, because unless the person knows or gets that replacement ballot, they're not gonna go to a ballot box to read the sign. So I don't think that's necessary, but I think the other ways that they're notifying the state, sending the text and the emails, the press releases and things like that. I think we need to wait and see how that is. Let our replacement ballots get out there first. Like, they're not there yet. So, but I don't think a message on the ballot box it won't do any good, because anybody that's gonna be pretty much dropping a ballot in, it's gonna be the replacement ballots, because we're not getting the other ballots now. And normally, the closer we get to early voting, the more ballots we get. But I mean, every route had at least 6 boxes that had no ballots in it, and the boxes that did had 1 or 2.
And your system still recognizes if somebody does bring in the first ballot.
All of those tracking numbers have been voided, so we can't receive it, which is why I'm tracking them on a spreadsheet, and keeping them in alphabetical order. And I can show, I offer in the director's report to show you guys the ballot, my ballot management in the storage where they're being quarantined. But the system only knows that it sent out the ballot and then the ballot was voided. It can't receive it. Once a ballot, it won't.
The system can't receive it, but you
But
may.
Yes, a very strict process. There's even a sign that says, "Do not enter, see Rui" on the door. Like, I don't want anybody going in there. Don't touch anything till we make sure, everybody's on the same page.
Did state board allocate any additional funds to the Baltimore County Board of Elections to deal with the additional work that they have caused you?
So not yet, and that question was asked at one of the meetings, so we're just waiting for an answer. And I'm gonna have to, I mentioned this in this report, I'm gonna have to hire a temporary part-time person to make sure that we stay on track and certify on time, because it is a heavy lift managing the ballots.
So you keep
And then
track
also
of
the posting.
hours and the times or whatever associated with
Yes.
it. So that way, at the end, you can go back to the state and say, hey, you cost us X amount of dollars.
Yeah, or tailor the vendor. So yes, and I'm also keeping track of postage, because we pay the return ballot postage. So we've depleted our postage account by 5,000 ballots. You know what I mean? So I have to, or the ones that came in the mail, and we track that too, which ones are ballot box. So it might not be 5,000. And then, the postcards that we have to send out are gonna cost us postage. So I am tracking all of that, and I did mention that. And I'm guessing the other local boards are as well, because I know, that question's been asked.
Out of curiosity, just so we can see down, and this can be in the background, can you look at the percentage of actual, say, last time we did an election, the ballots that were requested to be sent out, and then the actual return rate for those? I know it's not 100,
Yeah,
but
we looked it up. Kim and I looked it up a week or 2 ago, and I forgot what it was now. But yeah, I can get that for you. So, during presidential, there's usually higher voter turnout than a gubernatorial, but this is a very popular gubernatorial for Baltimore County. So, yeah, I can look, I'll look at 22, because that was the last gubernatorial, and tell you the numbers, and look at 24 too. And, I can send you those numbers. Can you make a note of that?
just out of curiosity, I think you mentioned part of it. So the ballots these 74,000 that were already sent out, hypothetically, what is the return rate, the return style? Do most of the people that request ballots mail them back, or do most of them put them in a drop box? Is it 50/50?
Right now, it's about 50/50, but we're really recommending to voters, and I've asked the state board to also include that in their messaging, to recommend a ballot box, because the voter will know within like 24 hours.
Get it
that we
faster than
have a
the
ballot,
email.
yeah. Right, so because they get a text message saying it's been received, and then, or an email, and then then when we canvass it, they get a text or an email saying we canvassed it. So we really are recommending the ballot boxes. We do have a bipartisan team going once a day, and then in about a week or so, they start going twice a day. So that really is the fastest, quickest way. Or they can drop it off at any early voting location,
It's
but.
as quickest, easiest, and cheapest
Mail.
too for us on the back end for
Right
all
now.
these mistakes.
That's true, yeah.
Another question that I had, Marie, can you compare or contrast other times when the ballots had to be reprinted? This isn't the first time that ballots have had to be reprinted.
So,
Maybe you weren't here, but I thought you referenced in one of your reports that there had been other times when ballots had to be reprinted.
well, no, there were, and not on our jurisdiction, there was something with, it wasn't the ballot. What happened in our jurisdiction is the person that delivered the test decks dropped them on the wet ground and bent so we couldn't do the logic and accuracy. Those had to be reprinted. What I talked about, the reprinting and the extra shredding, those were other forms that are supplied. We pay for them, but the state orders them for all jurisdictions. It was the voter registration application, the voter update form, and the voter assistance form.
So this was a unique situation, this failure of the printer.
Well, it was I believe they're different printers. Taylor does the ballots, but they have different printers that do those. I don't know who the printers are, but they're different printers.
Okay,
Yes, this is the only time that a ballot has had to be reprinted.
Yes, and resent out. Yes,
Right.
that's correct. And if there was another time that I'm not aware of it. But, yes, this election cycle and last election cycle, there were things that were misprinted, had to be reprinted.
thanks.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk about the general election candidates again. I already told you guys, we have 6 or 7 of those, and the petitions will come in July. The election judge and training department is doing well. We still need about 800 judges, which to me is a lot considering how close we are to early voting, but I also know we're gonna get there. I mean, we need 4,000, we need 800. So, it's all relevant when you think about the big picture. Most of them are Republicans because Baltimore County has more other party Democratic unaffiliated voters than we do Republican voters. I did contact the Republican Central Committee and they have been very helpful getting us volunteers and sending names and applications. So thank you to the Republican Central Committee, especially on the west side, the early voting sites, Reisterstown, Randallstown, Woodlawn, we were having trouble making sure that parity was at all of those places, just because there just aren't enough Republican judges. But again, we are getting there and we will be there by our early voting and election day.
And I do like, go ahead.
Are those 800 distributed in any particular way? You need
They're all over the county.
You can,
geographically. Do you need more chief judges or more?
it's in here, in your
No chief judges. We need regular judges.
packet of
We
information,
need closers.
the election judge assignment form that I really like,
Yeah.
and the stuff that was in your folder
Well,
today.
thank you.
That's
Did you
got
hear
the,
that?
that's got the breakdown.
That's better
I
than.
was gonna. It tells you, because I like to look at this and then start yelling at people and saying, I need your help in X, so.
Yeah, so that, the vacancy report that comes out of the system is like 50 pages long. So Cody, Amanda, and Kimberly came up with this spreadsheet, and then Blair updates it every month for me. But this spreadsheet is definitely much easier to understand what's going on than that 50-page vacancy report. But we will get there. We will get there. I have faith in our judge department, and we do have constant volunteers that we can call or people interested. And we also included a judge flyer in a mailing that went out. And if you notice at the bottom of the postcard too, we said, do you want to be a judge? So,
Excuse me. I see chief judges, election judges, provisional judges. Are the closing judges included in the provisional?
no, they're listed on there.
At the very
They're at the
bottom.
very bottom. If a closing judge doesn't go to, there isn't one to every precinct, okay? Like if there's a voting room in the gym and cafeteria, there's just one closing for that judge for that. And they're not a closing judge, we just call them closers, because they don't get paid the full election judge amount because they're not election judges. They only work for about 4 hours. And so we have 210 or 17 buildings, 207, 17, 10. 100, okay. So in those, we need a closer for every one of the buildings, because if there's two or combined, then we just need one person. So that's why we can't list them like we list the other ones. Because there's not one for every precinct.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, so personnel, I already, all our positions are filled except for that temporary state contractual position that I'm gonna fill to help us with the ballots and the canvas and all of that stuff that's coming up. So I plan on filling that within the next 2 weeks because it's a emergency hire. I won't go through the regular hiring process, but they're only gonna be here for a couple months. So it's not like it's a permanent position. Otherwise, I would go through I'm gonna get special permission to get it, to do the emergency hire. As you know, the performance evaluations are due. So we're doing them in as much as possible in June before the election, even though it's a couple weeks early. Kim's already met with all of the supervisors, and they all have a plan to make sure they can do their evaluations and meet with their team, but prior to the election day, so that we, meet that deadline that coincides like the audit, the inventory coincide with the election as well. And then the last thing is, the state administrator is coming to the August board meeting. No, he's not coming in person. It's a virtual, he's gonna join virtually to give you all the state required, director evaluation. Last time he came in person, but this time he's doing it virtually. So my question to you all is, you all had originally planned to do August virtually, because it's the month after we certify and, all the craziness. Let me know if that's something you want to do, because Amanda's gonna make sure Jared gets a link. The meeting with him is, in a closed session. I excuse myself, and then the 5 board members and Josh and the state administrator meet in the closed session, just like you guys did last time. But it'll be virtually. So what we can do is, you all can meet in here, or Amanda can set up a screen for you in the library, which is, then you'll be closer to the screen, or just think about it how you want to have that meeting with the state administrator virtually. And then also let me know if you want to have your meeting in person or virtual or hybrid, either way, because I know Al loves to come see me.
When did he request this meeting? Because he didn't send, I guess he sent it to you.
Yeah, they sent it to the directors this time. I think it didn't go well. So they sent it to the directors and said, they're gonna do all the evaluations between July, August, and September, in between the 2 elections. And I guess they're doing that rather than trying to squeeze it in after we certify the general election, before the end of the year. So, he had said, I told them it would be better to come in August than to the July meeting, because
Yeah, well,
the July meeting is,
can you forward that email to me? Because I'm going to send that same email back and tell him that we need that material in advance, because I'm not gonna have a meeting.
the day before, like you did.
I'm not gonna have a meeting where he's gonna show something to us and we don't have the time to go through it. So if he doesn't give it to us in advance, he's not gonna be welcome at the meeting.
Okay.
And I'll make sure that I say that on behalf of the board. Because he does have that doc. I want to see the material. I want the board to be able to see the material, to see what he's referencing when
Okay,
he does that.
all right. I will. And then other than that, I just, the final to end my long report is, don't forget, June 1st is the first Canvas Day, so I need at a minimum, board quorum and Josh. It is gonna be a very quick Canvas day. It starts at 10 a.m., but we have less than 500 ballots to canvas because our replacement ballots haven't gone out yet. And they're not going out till this week, so I'm not gonna have any ballots by June 1st, which is this coming Monday, other than our web delivery printed home ballots. But those are the ones that take a little longer because we have to duplicate them on the ballot marking device. So I'm still gonna have 10 teams. It's probably gonna take Amanda like a hot 5 minutes with the DS 850 to run less than 500 ballots through, but we're required by law to start the canvas on June 1st, so that's what we're gonna do. And then previously I had asked you all to please plan to be here June 2nd, but because of this, there's not gonna be a need to canvas on June 2nd. And I updated the important dates document. I gave you a hard copy in your board folders and I sent it to you by email as well, because I took away that June 2nd date, I think. Anyway, no, I left the June 2nd date on there, but I think I added a date. I can't remember what I did right now, but anyway, I sent that to you. And then our plan is to do a mail-in ballot canvas on June 25th, which is, June 20. If I have enough the weekend before the election to do a mail-in ballot, but I don't know that I will have enough to do a canvas. Remember before we had to start 8 days before early voting, and then what we did was in between early voting and election day, we held a canvas Saturday and Sunday, or at the very least Saturday. But I don't know that I'm gonna have enough ballots, so I have to just keep you all updated on that, whether we need to have that as a canvas day, or it doesn't make sense, we just need to canvas starting June 25th, which is the regular start after election day. Does that make sense?
Does any of this impact our volunteering for day X, Y, or Z?
So I'm gonna resend that out. I wanted to make sure it was okay with you all, my plan, because really, you're the board of canvassers. And then I will send that back out. And I'll make sure that I update that schedule as well. Again, this one, with take off June 2nd and stuff like that. When I gave you guys all a copy of I know I added that. I gave you a copy of my, notice of election, and, you can see it doesn't have as many canvassing days prior to election day because, you don't have ballots to get.
You can send out the canvas
Schedule?
board sign up that we all, because I think you still have.
Yeah, I'll take the days off that I don't think we'll need, and then I'll resend it out. I'll do that today. And then do we know who's coming June 1st? I know Derek is.
We are.
I know you are. I know I'll be here.
I think I'm coming.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, all right.
Are we
That-
obligated to count those votes on June 1st?
Yes, by law, we have to start 8 days before. So,
I was just,
we could ask for a waiver. There is a thing, ask for a waiver, but I thought, why ask for a waiver? Let's go ahead and hold that day and remember the web deliveries take the longest, right?
I know.
So let's go ahead and knock some out now, and then hopefully that'll help us. And that's the other reason I asked the state, can you please send a text message to the web delivery people or an email saying, please vote your ballot, it's a good ballot, so that we could start getting them back and start getting those canvassed earlier rather than getting all of those at the same time we get a whole bunch of replacement ballots. So that's why I asked them to do that, but they haven't told me yet whether they will.
Does the material include how many email ballots were requested versus how many?
That's on my, it's the
10,000.
difference between, that's on my desk. Those numbers are,
But we've only got 500
Tricia.
back.
can you go get the numbers off my desk? You'll see it.
They're in
It'll
here.
say-
That's why I know. He's right.
It is, I
My
put
memory's
it
not
in,
that good.
10,174.
Oh, there you go.
Web delivery ballot.
yeah, there it is, okay. I thought that I put it in
We
there, but
received 257.
back so far.
So far.
Whoop, whoop.
But we'll get a flood of them.
Right, but I want to get them now so that we can, rather than when the replacement ballots start coming back or, I don't know. I really want to try for us to meet our goal and canvas, and certify on time, despite all of this. That is my big objective. And I know that my management team and our entire team shares that same desire, because it's already a very tight window between the primary certification and when, the general stuff starts, right? And we have to do refresher training and unpack and then repack all the supply. There's just so much to do. So if we drag out certification, then that'll just make less days that I can give people off, things like that. And I really want to see what we can do to make it to certify on time. Which is why I'm trying so desperately hard to make sure that I'm managing these ballots correctly and I have a good system and it flows easy. It's easy to understand, very transparent. This is what is done. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And all of those things I'm making sure are in place.
Any questions?
Yes, on the early voting is scheduled, the 11th through the 18th. The 13th is Saturday, the 14th is a Sunday. The early voting station's going to be open.
Yes, 7 to 8. They're open every day.
Now, my memory from 2 years ago isn't that great,
They changed it. You're right.
okay, but are services required for those 2 days?
No. So during early voting, you just need to be available by phone if I need you.
Drop
During
off
early voting.
supplies, help some.
Or if you're available and you can drop off supplies, but the only requirement is just be available. And I mean, if something, just as always, if something emergency comes up, I contact Will and Josh first, and then if needed, that we contact everybody. So don't worry about early voting. It's election day that.
Don't jinx us, Al. Don't give us anything else.
But, we do the surveys, we do 2 surveys for each early voting center. In the past, a couple of you volunteered and said you would help me do that because it is hard for me to get out to every early voting site twice, during those 8 days. So if you're able, if that's something you want to do, let me know and I'll hook you up with a polling place survey.
I'll
So
do
that,
Water's Edge and Victoryville like I did last time.
yeah, okay, all right. But other than that, don't worry about early voting. We got it.
Anything else? All right, let's go into board council report.
First and foremost, we are not the subject of any new litigation since the last meeting. I also attended a symposium that, or CLE, I guess, that the director sent me a link for at the Brennan Center last week, and it was very informative based on that meeting and some of the materials that was discussed there. I'm going to make a protocol, send it to the director, and you guys can have it. Just in the worst case scenario, what happens? So they basically just talked about, subpoenas versus search warrants as far as, government coming, whether it be state or federal, coming to try to get our stuff, whatever that stuff is, if it's ballots, if it's machinery, things like that. And basically just ways to handle different things and how it's very confusing for staff because somebody at the front, if you get a subpoena, obviously we dealt with that before, you have time to respond, you can file a motion to quash, you can do these things, you don't have to produce it right away versus a search warrant where they show up and if anybody does anything to impede them in any way, they arrest them. It's a very big difference. And just to make a little protocol for how staff can handle it, they will not wait for anybody to get called. If they show up with a search warrant, they're not gonna, if they say, well, I gotta call Rui or I gotta call the president or I gotta call council, they're not gonna wait for any of that. Last time, I think when they wanted to talk about a specific voter that was a specific line of inquiry, not a process thing that we had. They
Told us
Yeah.
they were coming.
Right, they told us they were coming, and we were able to prepare for that, and that was an easier thing. One of the other things they talked about was, in some of these places, they will show up and they will start taking things, but they are indelicate with what they take. So to have a protocol for like Amanda, what to happen, what to do if somebody shows up, because these guys will show up, but they will not have technical people with them. They will only have law enforcement. So they just start grabbing stuff and unplugging machines that are running, and they don't care. And they can damage a lot of stuff. They can damage a lot of data, and they don't care. So it's good to have your chief of operations with them as they go in some of these places. Some of the people that were talking were, it's like the director of Maricopa County in Arizona, where they have, I'll just say the whole meeting made me feel a lot better about how we operate, because in many of these local boards are not only dealing with a potentially hostile federal oversight and involvement, but they also have that again on the state level, where their state board is actually overtly hostile to local boards for political reasons, because many of the people that are appointed in our state are elected in other states. So you have somebody like Rui, who's the director, or Will, who's the president, and they are elected. So bipartisanship may not be as strong as it is in Baltimore County.
And I've asked some of them, because I meet, on the EAC and stuff, they're from all the states. So, and when I first heard that they're elected, I'm like, well, how is that possible when you certify the ballot? Like, you make your ballot, you oversee counting it out. And they said that during the years that they're elected, they recuse themselves and they're not involved. And I'm thinking, can you imagine if I wasn't involved for a whole election cycle? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're telling these board attorneys, they're like, before you do anything, double check with your directors if they're elected and make sure nothing you do is contrary to their public political positions. It's like, that's a garbage way to run things.
Yeah.
Regardless of whose party it is. It's just obviously not a good way. So that was very disheartening. The things they're telling these guys, board attorneys from all over the country, like, you must be available by phone on election day and on canvass days. Make sure you have your phone with you. And if you really want to be a superstar, maybe swing by. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, in Baltimore County,
We already do that.
we already do that. And I am there from sun up to sundown. And this whole notion of just like, hey, make sure you check your phone on election day if you're council. It's like, oh God, some of these places. So it's very heartening to know that everything they're telling people to do in the most aspirational, like if you really want to go above and beyond, and you can do X, Y, Z, things that I don't know who gets credit for them here, but they've been in place since I've been here, and they're the standard. So once again, we do a lot better than everybody else. I knew that statewide. That was very confirmed, like across the country, we have a top tier operation compared to what some other people are dealing with, a lot of other people are dealing with. And as much as state board, as we've already discussed today, can sometimes make our lives hard, at least they are not, sending the state police in here all the time to try to use state search warrants to take our voting equipment and things like that, which definitely is happening or has happened in some other places. So with that being said, we'll implement a protocol. They give us some samples. The only other thing, and I don't think this is all like the, just out of the utmost concern. If we do get some sort of inclination that people are taking things or search warrants are going to be served anywhere, in the federal court, there's a 41G motion, which basically just says, I want my property returned. It was taken pursuant to a search warrant, but I need it, and I'll suffer irreparable harm if I don't get it back. So some of the boards have filed things like that or prepared things like that when things were seized before. And for us, it's fairly easy to show. An example was they want to come and seize all your voting equipment, your counters, your poll books and everything today. Like, you could obviously say, we will suffer irreparable harm. We will not be able to count. We won't be able to carry on this election. And other jurisdictions in this country, through state action and federal action, have had to actually do that, where they've tried to come in and take things out of their office during election cycle. Like that would basically shut that office down. So, if that seems like that might be something that might happen, I can, start writing one of those 41G motions just to have it on template, but I don't think any of that stuff is going to happen here, frankly. And most of the people, obviously, that attract a lot of that, the jurisdictions that attract that are more firm jurisdictions, obviously, because there's something to be gained in the minutia and in the small numbers of votes. But
Although the error in the printing of the ballots did trigger the president to call Maryland into question.
that's politics. I can't answer
The
that.
administrator was on CNN.
Well, there's no accounting for politics. I mean, politicians are going to capitalize on everything. Yeah.
To dismiss, worst case scenario, that's all I'm saying.
Right. Yes, and that's what I said. But what we don't want to have happen is, like I said, we got a federal subpoenas before we worked with the FBI for that, because that was about an individual, not about us. But we'll disseminate a list. It's only one page of things to do. If they show up at the front door, if they have a subpoena, do this. If they have a search warrant, do this. Don't get in their way. Call these people, things like that. We can do that. The 41G motion for something like us, it wouldn't be a 100-page motion. It would be a 10-page motion. So they're not really the kind of thing that the relief we were seeking would be obvious. We can't, our irreparable harm if you take machines is we can't count votes. It's not a esoteric argument about some theoretical harm that we could possibly sustain, like some legal motions are. So we'll be ready. I'll be ready. Just keep checking in with all these, the state boards and the national board attorneys meetings like this. But I think
And you're doing the local board attorney meetings?
right. The next one of those is June 9th.
Attorney General, okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure we go to that. That's important to go to.
The center does such a great job, so I look.
They did. It was a very good bipartisan presentation that they had. They had the Maricopa County election chief on there, and it definitely made me appreciate being in Maryland. I could definitely put it that way, because some other states have a really very partisan election process, which isn't good for anybody, no matter what party you belong to. So I believe so. It was reassuring, generally speaking.
The Brennan Center has a lot of good training documents too. Even about self-care, election officials needing self-care. Because I'm part of the major metro, large jurisdiction group. And with the Brennan Center. So they have a lot of good training and informational documents.
All right. Any old business? Did have that confidential voter.
We haven't gotten it back yet because of the holiday. When you count the 15, from the time we sent the letter, and count 15 working days, I think the deadline was yesterday or today, so, next meeting.
So,
Or maybe she's not gonna send anything, because we verbally talked to her and sent her the follow-up letter and explained to her that, just because you might get texts or emails from candidates doesn't, that's not a reason.
so then, because that would be the deadline, if the person does not submit,
I bring it back before you and say they didn't, and then you all determine whether she's temporarily gonna stay confidential until you all make a decision whether yes or no.
but I think our motion last time was to provide the information. So if she doesn't have information coming in the next week or two, she needs to be removed because she didn't supply us the information for us to keep her there.
Okay.
Because we said that we wanted the additional information to consider. If she doesn't send any additional information, then based on what we had, she would not be considered. We all agreed that she was not confidential with what she had.
Okay, all right, I'll ask Rita after this meeting, I'll ask her, or Kimberly we'll ask her if we got anything back, and if not, we'll make the change. And send her the letter, let her know it's being made. We say that in the letter anyway, if you don't return within this
And
day,
you
so,
talked to her as well, so she's had both forms of contact.
yeah, okay.
Any other old business? Any new business? Any new confidentials? No, nothing, right?
Excuse me, Rui had requested it. Did you ever get any information on the ballots that were sent out,
That wasn't our county, that was Anne Arundel. The sample ballots,
the sample
that
ballots?
was Anne Arundel County.
No, let me back up.
Okay.
The early voting ballots that were sent out, were sent incorrectly. Did you ever find out what the party affiliation of the people that were?
Both.
Both.
It was both, Dems and reps.
Percentage, or was it 50-50 or?
It was just random, and actually, we got some, we received some of the calls, I'm a registered rep, but I got a Dem. Some of the calls, I'm a Dem, but I got a rep. Some calls where I got the right ballot, but my wife got the wrong one. So, and no, we don't know, and this is why we don't know. Because we don't know what envelope is in those what ballot is in the envelopes. So there's no way to tell whether the error was one or the other. Hold on, let me finish, just because, and this will make sense to you, I promise. The more Democrats request a by-mail ballot, so more Democrats are gonna be affected. We have no idea exactly who got the wrong ballot because we don't open the envelopes. So, and we don't know what ballot is inside. We just know that this was the wrong issued ballot and that we got it back or we didn't get it back.
Has it been determined where the error was? Was it the state sending the printer the wrong information, or was it the printer sending it through their own errors within their operation?
The press releases and the information that I have say it was a printing error. And that's
Printing error,
all.
was that
That's,
the explanation not come back whether the state sent them the incorrect
I
information?
think the director's response is we are not privy to the results of their audit at this point.
yeah. I don't know anymore, Al. I really
We
don't.
don't.
I mean, I can,
This county was affected by that, short of not sending the ballot back out a second time and ignoring the mail-in ballots. They're still open to changing the results of the ballot or the election or the primary. If they did it this time, what's stopping them from doing it in the general election or the primary election in November? There's an audit being, but that's information that should be shared through all the counties that were affected. It's not something just, oh gee, we did an audit, so therefore we figured out what the problem is. We're not going to share the information with you. That's not the way it should be done. And my confidence in the folks at SBE is greatly diminished over their lack of communication. Oh, we sent replacements out. That should be the end of the conversation. It's not the end of the conversation. And Jairus isn't coming up here in August because he doesn't want to hear it from us or from me or Will or whoever else. That the confidence I have in them doing their job is greatly diminished. Okay, that's my position on that. And if they're not going to be fair and honest with us, how can I be confident in them that they're going to do the proper thing in November when the votes really count? That's why I had to say.
I'm not disagreeing, but I can't quote it, but I did see that the Attorney General sent out a statement maybe yesterday. So they've done, their office has done some kind of an assessment to determine, to his finding, that there was no wrongdoing.
But assessments don't mean anything unless we know what the issue was and how, well, I mean,
I'm not disputing that.
I think that Al has a great point that the state board, everybody talks about transparency and there's no transparency with the state board to the locals. I mean, I was very upset and I told Rui when she called Derek and I and told us what was going on, that state board didn't even include her in any of the phone calls initially or any of the planning stuff, but our county, our director is the one who notified them, okay? And we were not included in the conversations for what happened, how it happened, what they're gonna do, nothing. I mean, Rui gets a press release just as everybody else does. That's unacceptable. I agree with you, Al, and I think the sentiment here of the board is, that's unacceptable. You're impacting our voters and you're not even telling us what's going on, how it happened. Give me the data.
And it would seem highly unlikely that a vetted professional ballot printing company would just go in and start changing things on their own. It would seem that the simplest explanation is they got bad information from the state board on these rosters and everything that they print up of who's what. This isn't like two guys who's with a printer in their basement that are printing these ballots out. They're not changing any of this data that they get. This was definitely
And of all.
they from the start.
Come on.
It's a
The
fair
printers-
question to ask who was the project manager at the State Board of Elections.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they send all the data over, the printer prints whatever they send over.
Somebody's got to pay the price.
Well, that's not our job.
No, but it's incumbent on me to raise my voice loud enough that they hear it.
No. I agree. No.
Sorry.
Would it appease this body to document something or compile something and express our concern to state board in a written format?
Sure.
I mean, I think it's more than reasonable for us to inquire as to the source of the error. Like, obviously, this was some data error that somebody put in, but how do people who are previously registered? It's one thing if these were all new registrations and somebody, there was one weak link in the chain that had messed a bunch of data entry up, but it seems like a lot of these were old registrations too, people that have been registered for a while.
Where does the error lie, the data?
They should be able to figure that out. It's 2026 now, so we'll see.
Question, where is the printer located? I mean,
Minnesota.
so it's not done it wasn't in the state.
No.
Okay, 'cause people ask me that.
Well, the printing, the printer and mail house is in Minnesota.
That's what I'm saying.
The state, yeah, so the file is sent to them in Minnesota.
And they do, it's for
Yeah.
a lot of people. It's not just us.
So it's not a local printer that did it. It was out of, okay.
So
Not somebody's cousin, shockingly.
Well, I'm just,
County.
people,
Right.
is Minnesota, but some people contract out or do things. Where was it physically printed? Was it-
Minnesota.
It was physically. Now,
okay.
did it enter the mail system in Minnesota or did it get trucked down to here and then enter the mail system down
I don't know
here?
that answer. I don't know that. I just know the printer and mail house is in Minnesota. But I can ask those questions. And Taylor put out a statement. I don't remember if it's in their statement. The printer put out a statement.
Any other comments, questions? Any other new business? All right, let's see, announcement and disclosures of campaign contributions. We'll start all the way at the end.
No,
$50 to Delegate Jennifer White.
White.
Yeah, Jennifer White, was it Jennifer White Hall? She got married.
Yeah.
I had 60 to Josh Signs, County Council candidate. SINES.
I have none. You got any, Josh?
I have none.
Okay. Administration of oath for the new employees.
Yes, yep, we can go get them.
You want to grab them while
I'm gonna run to the bathroom at the same time.
I'll say June 23rd is next meeting.
At 8:30 PM.
Right now, I will be virtual because I'll be at police headquarters and I think Derek might be. Al, you said you were coming, I think Laverne, Al, Peter, you were all gonna be here
In
in
person.
person? Right, okay.
And they're just gonna draw your precinct
Yes.
for you.
Al, you can pick some extras for
And
me.
you have to be in person.
I'll be here in a suit.
So let's see, is it okay, Rui? We don't have,
It's fine.
it's fine. So we can,
Oh.
let's do the couple things and then we'll take a quick break then, I guess.
She went to go get
No
them.
other business, right?
So can you tell her, never mind, don't grab them?
Well, shit, they can bring them over. 'cause
Oh, never mind,
we can
okay.
Go on break and use the restroom and then come back.
Oh,
into
I got
closed
it.
session. That was just a, all right, so no other business before the body, right? So the administration of oath can happen outside. That doesn't happen, it doesn't need to happen in a meeting. That can be pulled out. We know the next meeting. So will someone make a motion that we go into closed session? Is 15, 20 minutes okay?
Well, are you ready for me or are you guys gonna meet without me? for the
With you
closed-
first.
Meet with me first for the closed session? Okay. Yeah.
So 20,
10 minutes is fine with me.
okay, so
I just wanna run down the hall, go to the bathroom.
So does that make sense? We'll have somebody make a motion that we go into closed session at 10:10, which gives us 13 minutes to freshen up, do what we need to do. And then we'll come back to here in an open meeting. So for those guests and attendees, once we break, there'll be no further business. So if you want to go home and hear the rains out there, so.
So, do you mind, Mr. President, if I say one thing?
Yep.
So the public demo of equipment starts at 10:30, but there's no public here. So if there was public here, we would have it, but there's no public. So there's nothing to do. If the board wants to see any of Amanda's documents for logic and accuracy, she's happy to show those to you. She always shows them to you prior to the canvases as well. But if you want to, see the bin of paperwork, she has that for you. We were audited by our regional manager yesterday and there was no variance in the audit. So, if there was public here, we would have it, but there's no public, so I just wanted to note that.
All right, so will someone make a motion that we go into closed session for personnel at 10:10? Okay, so it's been moved
Second.
and Laverne seconded. Any further discussion? If not, motion to go into closed session at 10:10. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that will close out this meeting for now, at 9:58. I'm gonna do some swearing in, take a chance to walk around a minute. We'll come back here in about 10, 12 minutes. Sound good? All right.
It's this one. And you know you have to put the